Welcome everybody to the Built for Anything podcast. I have a very, very dope guest with me today. Fresh off of speaking at the Texas Veggie Fest. I got Dominick Thompson, aka Domz. Say what's up to the people, man.
What's up, fam? What's up, world? What's up, beautiful people? I'm glad to be here and really connect with you all and just share my energy with your energy. So thanks for taking the time to have me on your podcast, and to most important to you listeners out there taking the time to tune in.
Appreciate that, man. First of all, man, what do you think about Texas? This is your first time in Dallas, Texas. I tell people where you're from. Tell people what you think about Texas.
Yeah, short but sweet. Love it. It's a beautiful city. In fact, it's so beautiful. I'm definitely going to be coming back down here probably in sometime in January or February. Which is
perfect time.
Yeah. It's a beautiful place. The roads are the roads. Like you said, it could get confusing. So that's a little bit something I had to get adjusted to. So I flew in from Atlanta. As you all know, that's where I stay. But yeah, I love Dallas. I love Texas. The weather's great. And most important, the hospitality and the people here are truly amazing. And the vegan food, amazing vegan food so far that I had. Yep.
Yeah, the people pretty dope, man.
Yeah.
Tell people a little bit, for those of you out there who, very little of you, I'm sure, who probably don't know you. Tell them just a little synopsis about you, man. Just who you are, what you got going on.
Yeah, I'm a former healthcare executive turned social entrepreneur. For those of you that don't know, social entrepreneur is somebody that creates lines of services or product to have impact on change for the greater good of the world, the environment, or social movement. And I'm a part of the vegan community. I'm definitely one of the faces of the community that most people recognize. I do a lot of activism with respect to animal rights activism, and as well as general activism. I'm originally from Chicago, born and raised. I first went plant-based completely about 17 years ago when I was in prison. I went to prison for drugs. I used to sell drugs and turn my life around in prison and transitioned from that to back to society after doing some years in prison. But yeah, it was that's when I went plant-based and I haven't had meat in about 17 years. And that changed my life around when I made that transition. So I'm also the founder of one of the largest vegan clothing companies, Crazies and Weirdos. Really cool clothing company. We develop shirts, sweaters, shoes, and coats. I'm also launching my second startup company, which is a line of juicery and smoothie bars under the Eat Well F&Z brand, and as well as a gym and a couple other cool projects as well.
That's what's up, man. And as you guys who are watching this on YouTube now, you probably see the Crazies and Weirdos hat. We're going to drop the link to the website in the description for sure. But I'll tell you, when I turned vegan very, very early on, I might have been just months into it. You were one of the pages that I came across that inspired me in a way where it's like, okay, cool. You can lift heavy. You can just basically carry yourself a certain way. Yeah. And so I've been monitoring you ever since then. And that's how we kind of came across each other in New York at a few events there. I wanted to talk to you about, how you really monitor and how you really manage your Instagram in a responsible way, and just your social media in general, and how you really carry yourself out in the public. I said this to you the other day that, I've come across a lot of people who've met people who are, I guess you could call them, if you want to call them famous, or just people who are just, known by a lot of people. They have a huge social media presence. Sure. I'll say that, right?
Yeah.
Usually you meet them in person, they're nowhere like who they portray themselves to be.
Yeah.
You were definitely who you portrayed yourself to be.
Yeah.
And what I can vouch for is that other people that I come across and you've come up in conversation, and I say, yeah, I've met him. He's a good guy. They said the same thing as well. So your reputation is definitely preceding you.
Yeah.
What goes into that, man? How do you maintain that level of humbleness, if you want to call it that?
Absolutely. I come from very humble beginnings. Single parent home, Chicago, West Side, poor background. And those humble beginnings really taught me A lot, a lot of my experiences, even when I went into prison, you just realize that I was a different guy before going into prison. I was just trying to find my way in the world, but I mean, I had that compassion in my heart, don't get me wrong, but it humbled me and it made me understand one thing, that I'm a human. I can be taken out of society, be taken out of the world at a blink of an eye, snap of a finger. And so that experience alone really shook my core and humbled me to realize that when I became a piece of property, because I was a piece of property with respect to being owned by the government, being told where to sleep, shit, and eat, it's a whole different experience.
You remember your number?
I do.
They say everybody
I do.
Number,
I do.
Like the back of their hand.
Like the back of my hand. And it ends with 424, which is the region that my crime went down in Chicago. Yeah. Yeah. I can't get it. I can't get my number out of my head. It's ingrained in my head like a robot.
And I don't know if you mentioned how long were you in there?
About 3 years.
You're about 3 years.
Yeah, about 3
years. This is, years ago. Obviously you were in your early 20s.
Yeah.
You're approaching, 40 very soon.
Yeah.
Don't look it.
Thank you.
I'm
Appreciate it.
When you mention it, people are taken back
all the time. They think I'm still in my 20s. Yeah, I get 25 to 28 in that range.
So a lot of experience. A couple years. So you said it was plant-based first, and you just you kind of transition. For those people out there who don't really know the difference, people get confused. There's vegetarian, there's pescatarian, there's veganism.
Yeah.
What separates veganism from the rest?
Yeah, vegan itself, the lifestyle, is something that you completely, you don't eat any animal products. You don't support or buy fabrics containing any animal products. You do your best, like our mantra from Crazy and Weirdo says, if it requires harm, then nah. It's a lifestyle of peace. It's a lifestyle that really helps the environment, helps your own health, and more importantly, helps animals. And you also are involved in an educational piece. It's a complete lifestyle a piece and raising awareness in all industries that use animals for, whether we're talking about testing in the medical and pharmaceutical industries to we talk about the fashion industry. It's a complete lifestyle that what we do and what we believe in specifically, at least me, there's no need to use any type of animals or for any type of reasons, especially in 2018. And that is separate from a vegetarian approach, which is more of a diet base. That's when, and people don't eat any meat in the vegetarian diet except for they're allowed to eat eggs and cheese and dairy. And then pescatarians, people they don't eat fish in a pescatarian diet. And then there's subcategories in those diets and stuff, lacto and octo. A lot of those stuff. Also too, one of the newer terminologies that came in recent years is plant-based versus vegan. And plant-based are really people that have a vegan diet, a primarily vegan diet, but they may rock leather shoes or have a leather purse and continue to buy those products that have animal products because it's not an ethical choice. It's just their diet is vegan, but not their lifestyle.
I always tell people that social media in the right hands can be a very powerful thing. It's one of those things where it's just like the internet, right? If you abuse it, it can be negative. Sure. But at the same time, it can open up doors and opportunities, and you have access to information that you've never, back in the day, you either had a wall full of encyclopedias or you just, there was no internet like that. Right now you can go on and you can literally find anything. Right.
Yeah.
It's safe to say that it sort of changed the game for you. Right.
Yeah.
I want you to take me back to that moment and tell me, like, when did it really hit you? Like, oh shit, like, people were really feeling this, like, I got 1,000 people, like, or when was that moment or that acknowledgement where you're just like, I need to focus on this, or I need to do something with this?
There's a lot of those aha moments. 6-7 years ago when I came on into Instagram and started raising awareness about animals and posting my workouts at the same time and doing a lot of that work, I knew I consider myself like a visionary guy. I can definitely see the future of different things. If I see something that's good in any industry, it's just that my mind is like an architecture designer, and I knew it was going to be around. So I wasn't shocked to see the impact social media was doing 6-7 years ago, as well as, some of the things that people was using it for to create new business opportunity, to create new industries. Now, with my own personal experience, what did take me a little bit off guard was the fact that how quickly my account grew with respect to growing organically. I never paid for followers. I never paid for likes. I didn't even know what that stuff was up until recent years. I didn't know people can do that. And my account just grew like a monster because I was the opposite of what people inside the vegan community and outside the vegan community stereotype a typical vegan male as, which is either a middle-aged, white, skinny, pale, weak male that's either a hippie or an endurance athlete. That was the stereotype. That's not something I stereotyped it is, but that's what the inside people inside the community and outside the community usually associate the vegan male with. And here I was, a vegan of color with some size on them, strong, had no filter, and talking about things that matter to me passionately with no hidden agenda, not trying to monetize or nothing like that. It was just organic. It was genuine. To this day, I'm still genuine. I have not sacrificed my beliefs, and I still to this day talk about the same things I was talking about 6 or 7 years ago. And that alone inspired, it just took off because it was like a breath of fresh air. It was just the opposite of what they were used to. So that kind of shocked me. And when I started seeing magazines publish articles about me without my permission, I didn't even know you didn't need permission. I didn't know the game. Yeah. I didn't know you didn't need permission to use me in your magazines. And they was publishing me from Men's Health to Muscle and Fitness magazine, as far as publishing me as an athlete. I was like, wow. But the bigger aha moments when NPR News 6 years ago contacted me for an interview. And right after that, followed by ABC News. And that's when I was like, wow, this thing is powerful. It's impact.
So when you speak about being an athlete, and some of you who are listening to this, and you need to make sure that you get over to YouTube and you actually see the individual here. What are some of the things that you've done? I know you said Ironman. What are some of the endurance stuff that you've done? Out there?
Well, my background is so multi-faceted. Well, I define myself as a multi-athlete, but it's a lot of different disciplines that I had a chance to practice as well as thrive on, which is, as you mentioned, triathlons. I love triathlons. I've done tons of triathlons, from Ironmans to Olympic triathlons, distant triathlons, rather. My background also includes powerlifting. My background also includes CrossFit. Before CrossFit was very popular, I was actually a pretty impressive CrossFit athlete. And my background.
And did that start in jail? Because they say, you get to jail, you work out.
Yeah.
I'm sure you wasn't, just sloppy before you got there. But like, is that really where you kind of, because it took your mind off of things, which I'm sure it was the case, that it just kind of carried over to when you left? You just like, you kind of kept that a part of you, or were you kind of always that way even before you got behind bars?
Yeah, no, I was sloppy when I got there. That's a good point. I was about 250, 55, 60 pounds, well overweight. I mean, I wasn't like obese. I was husky, like a big husky size. And that's just from that dope boy lifestyle, that getting that money lifestyle, eating out, drinking and hanging out all types of hours and just doing God knows what, tons of shit. And that lifestyle had an impact on my body very early on. I used to play football in high school, but yeah, that era post high school, during my golden years of doing what I was doing, that led me into jail. I really my body suffered from that lifestyle, from a lot of inflammation and other stuff. And it was there in jail that I re-engineered my body, my mind. I rewired everything I knew about my body and changed it around. I got all the way down to like about 180 of solid muscles, and became one of the strongest guys in the prison that I was at. You know, a compound over 1,000 inmates, and we would have liftoffs, and I was definitely in the top 10 of strong guys that are killing it, from doing heavy compound movements, deadlifts to benching to squatting, crazy weight. And people can see, I still to this day have been able to sustain that lifestyle. For people that follow me on social media, see how heavy I can lift and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, as much as I love doing triathlons, and I do love doing triathlons, but I'm from the old school. It's nothing like that good old iron on your chest. I love feeling that heavy iron on my chest, and I can do some amazing things with some iron. So yeah,
I'm sure you're hearing depression, mental health are pretty popular topics nowadays, right? Especially among our community. I have feelings about that particularly, but that's a whole nother thing. But you mentioned something to me the other day in your talk that you did, that when you got there, you were concerned about, you know, your because prison is designed to break you.
Absolutely.
Let's call it what it is. It's designed to break you.
Yep.
Everybody don't come out of it, you know, with that mindset. No. And so you talked about how you really changed your diet. You changed your habits, and you see people today who are out and about and are suffering for various reasons, things that happen in their household, whatever the case may be. Talk to the people about how important it is to really have that healthy lifestyle, and how it really does affect your mind, the things you do put in your body.
Yeah, mental health is a big issue in our community, in the African American community. And you're right, prison is set up to really break you down. And I go on record, tell people this all the time. The plant-based diet, veganism in general, saved my life. It did save my life in so many ways, that we would have to spend the whole 3 hours talking about in what ways exactly it saved my life. But with respect to your question about mental health, I didn't fear prison at all. I didn't fear the men in prison that I would meet and clash with, or any guards that I would clash with. I'm a pretty intimidating guy, and I can handle myself without a doubt, physically. But I feared my mental health, rightfully so, because I'd never been in and out of the system. This was my first time ever being arrested, and I just not to say that I felt like I was better than anybody doing time there, but I just felt like my mind, where it was at that point, I feared I couldn't endure that. You know what I mean? I just didn't feel like it couldn't endure that. It could have been more productive. My mind could have been used to do more productive things, just to sit isolated like that, which is one of the worst feelings in the world. Mm-hmm. Imagine every day feeling like a Sunday, and time goes on and on and on, and it's one of the worst experiences, if not the worst experience I have ever had in my life. Especially when I went to the hole. I was in the hole for 40 nights for fighting. And it took 3 steel doors to get to me. That's the only thing that Hollywood got right about prison, which is the holes. When you go in the hole, you're locked down 23/5, and on weekends you lock down 23/7. You lock down for 24/7 on weekends. Not able to get any air, no sunlight, none of that. And then 5 days a week, you lock down 23 hours. They let you out for 1 hour a day into another whole area with sunlight coming in through the top, which ain't really shit. And the hole is about the size of 2 of these tables to put together, two and a half tables right here. Mm-hmm. Worse, and you were so dehydrated in there, Yeah, man. So that specifically too, almost now that was a very challenging time. I thought I was going to lose it being in the hole. But I was able to stand strong. I tried my best to run down memories and stuff like that. But I really credit my diet. There's science to back up that what you eat, almost like eating violence, you're eating the dead carcass, you're eating dead energy. And I was able to continue to eat those carbs. And throughout my entire time in prison, even outside of the hole, that had kept me more at peace. You know what I mean? Like my view on things, even outside. Really, I'm a man at the end of the day, meaning like there's things that would trigger me, whether we're talking about being in prison or not. You want to challenge as a man. You know, it's just part of our nature. But this diet has truly allowed me to think more clearly and to make more calculated decisions without responding aggressively. You know, I do respond assertively, but with rationale behind it. And I credit that with plant-based eating.
Now I've been around you a few times, and I've seen people come up to you, particularly women. I noticed mention this, but I'm sure guys mention this as well, where they credit the compassion that you have, right? And I think that that's important in your demeanor, because like I remember I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about LeBron James, right? And I said, you realize this guy, like they were just talking crazy about him, right? And I was like, you realize this guy is 6'8", 230, right? Let's say, right? I don't know if you've ever been next to somebody that's that big, right? Because I really, like, people act like they want smoke, right?
Yeah,
but it's like, you don't really see, like, he hit the genetic lottery. Like, people like that don't just walk around every single day, right? And I say that you got to be happy that he chose basketball, right? Because if people like that, so I feel like sometimes people see it, they're like, man, I'm happy he's doing what he's doing, right? Because if he wasn't, it'd be a problem. And I think that's why they say that to you, where it's like, man, that's why I think it's probably more surprising, because usually when you see people that, you know, they physically look big, they usually applying some sort of pressure somewhere, right?
Sure.
They're usually not the nicest, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that do you find that people are surprised when they do get around you, like, he's pretty cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it all the time. Men and women both, they see me. They in fact, I'll tell you a story. I was giving a talk in Canada, Toronto, last year. I gave the keynote up there, and this big white guy, he's about 6'4", huge, looked like he about 300 pounds, solid, big dude, bigger than me. Like, and he came up to me and he was like, man, I just want to hug you, man. And you know, he waited his turn to take the photos, and he got to me. He's like, I had to come down here to see you personally. I follow you online. I'm not vegan at all. I didn't believe it was real and could be done, because I thought maybe you was like one of these other Instagrammers, like just really good with the angles, but you are big as fuck in person. Like, you are very impressive physically. In fact, you're bigger in person. And I just want to give you a hug, man, and say that you now inspire me to go vegan, because I had to come down here, not because I lived in it. Giving a talk in his city, he was like, he had to go see was I the real deal, or was I just all talk? Like, because he done met other people online that didn't live up to the hype of what they seen online, and that was pretty a good special moment, because he went vegan. He's like, now that he sees that I am who I am, no Photoshop or nothing like that, he decided to go there. So. I think that, and true, you know, we live in a world where people try to really be clever with the angles and the Photoshops, or
they're not in peak season.
Yeah, they're not.
You see them, they're 20 pounds lighter. Like,
they're not in peak season, or they full of
There's no photo shoot coming up.
Or they full of creatine or steroids and stuff like that. My body is just naturally the way it is, strictly from plants. You can see. I mean, like you can. I think a lot of people are smart enough especially in the fitness world, to know bullshit from real shit. And I think when people meet me, they can see that I have an athlete build. I don't have like a supplement build or like a bodybuilder build. I have like a true all around balanced athlete build, because I do run every day. I do bike. I do swim. I do lift. But I'm not taking any drugs or enhancements and stuff like that. And you could sense the bullshit out there versus that. So I'm very proud of the fact that I never sacrificed my integrity like a lot of people stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I see you bring up supplements, and I'm sure a lot of people ask you like, hey man, what are you taking? And even, you know, I see in comments, you know, they ask that, and you're pretty adamant of like, it's the lifestyle, right? And it's not there's no magic pill, but yet I'm sure you've seen a lot of, maybe I don't say your I can say your contemporaries, right?
Yeah.
People who they're pushing something, right? They're pushing
Absolutely.
some sort of product, right?
Absolutely.
You're not necessarily pushing a particular product. You may push a lifestyle. I know you have some things that's coming up.
Yep.
And I'm sure you're thinking about things that people can do that are sustainable.
Yep.
Right. But what do you say to those people that are like, man, you know, you gotta be on something, you know, you gotta
I say,
take
let's
something, you know?
Yeah, like I tell it, I'll take any test anybody want me to do. You want to fund it? We can do it. You can follow me for a year. You can test me every damn day if you want. I'm down. If it's for a good cause to raise more awareness, I'm willing to put my blood work up against any omnivore, any vegan, and I have nothing to hide. I'm as transparent as they come, and I think that exactly why people have really believed in my message, because I'm not selling nothing. That's the thing. That you can't go on my Instagram like, what is he selling? There's no products there. There's no supplements there. There's no food. I haven't even done any paid partnerships and stuff like that. So what am I trying to lie to you about? I'm just trying to make you make a better decision with respect to yourself, the environment, more importantly, animals. That's what I'm selling you, a choice to make to stop destroying a creation that feels like you, that has a central nervous system like you, that breathes like you, and more importantly, has a heart behind that rib cage, just like you. So yeah, I it's coming from the heart. Everything that I talk about on social media is coming from a place of love, specifically. In terms of products out there, I don't demonize them. I think they're great for transitioning. Supplements is something like if I didn't have to do supplements in prison, I don't have to do it out here, and that's just
It's a great philosophy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was no GNC store in the prison system.
That's true.
There was no vitamin shop in the prison system. Like, hey, can I get a tub of that plant-based protein? Or, you know what I mean? We didn't have that.
They smuggling that way.
Right, exactly.
You got that way on you.
You got that way on you.
Bring that.
Yeah, I
Bring
got
that.
that.
Need it.
Yeah.
Need it.
Run that with the creatine. Run that with the creatine. But, you know, look, that's nothing wrong with supplements. They do help some people perform at different levels, and there is some science to back up stuff like creatine and stuff like that. And I don't want to demonize people that take it, but it's just something that I haven't taken, and I will continue to push the whole plant-based approach specifically, even when it comes to the mock meats and stuff like that. It's great for transitioning. So that's why I don't want to demonize that, because it's convenient. All that stuff is convenient. And as long as no animals being harmed, hey, if you want to load up on supplements or mock meats and stuff like that, and you're not killing any animals, you cool with me, you know?
No, I definitely, I hear you. Man, I wish we could get to this talk a lot more, guys. But I know Dominic got some things that's coming up as well, where you're gonna be able to hear him at a full length. Some of his ideas. I know you got a plane to catch very soon. But I had to get you on here. I want you to just, you know, wrap us up. Tell us some of the things that you got coming up. If there's something on your mind that maybe you wanted to say that I didn't touch on, if you know, I'll give you the floor.
Sure.
From here on out.
Thanks for having me. And I know it was a short interview because my flight is leaving very shortly, so I had to go to the airport. But I'm sure we'll do a part 2 in the future. But again, to the listeners that tuned in, I just want to take the time to say thank you for taking the time out just to connect with me and to vibe with me. And really looking forward to seeing you guys out there. My talk for the year, I was on a tour talk for the last year, and it ends in Atlanta next month at the Full Circle Farm Sanctuary. That'll be my last talk of the year. And then I'm launching Eat Well Eat Smoothie and Juice Bars, working with a team to develop that and launch that in the next year. It may be pushed over by the end of next year, followed by a gym as well, launching that. And more importantly, what's coming up very soon next month is the launch of my own podcast, and that would be Dominick Thompson, An Elephant in the Room, which is going to be a pretty cool podcast where I talk about a lot of topics and social issues that people in the podcast world are just not, in my opinion, representing and talking about. So I'm really looking forward to pushing that. So that's launching next month. You can find me on social media at Domz Thompson, DOMZTHOMPSON, or you can just Google Dominick Thompson. I come right up. And if you want to support also our mission with Crazies and Weirdos, which is a cool, hip, and sustainable clothing company, all our clothes are handmade in New York from recycled and organic materials. You can just go to craziesandweirdos.com. So yeah, thanks for having me on this podcast. Appreciate it.
Guys, I definitely got to thank him. He took the time to come over here. It's pretty early that we're shooting this podcast right now. But I could tell you guys that, there's a lot to this man. We have some things coming up that I'm really excited to share about, his telling his story at full length. I think it's going to be very exciting, guys. He reached out to me. It was an honor to be able to assist you in a way where you can. I always feel like everybody has a story to tell, right? Like we're all, as we're living our lives, we're writing our own stories, right? And we're the main characters, right? We're the superhero. We're the one that's gonna save us, in our own story. And there are things that we all go through that other people can learn from to be better people. They say life is the best teacher, that we have. And by sharing your experience with others, hopefully people don't make the same mistakes. And, obviously, as you heard from this man, there's some things he's done in his life. But I'm sure he realized that made him who he is today. And he wouldn't change it for anything.
Absolutely.
And, we were working on a documentary, and we're going to put that out in the very near future. And what I can tell you guys is that it's going to be authentic, if nothing else. It's going to be truthful, if nothing else. You're going to feel something, if nothing else. If you've ever, been to, you've seen somebody talk, or you've been around somebody who's been through some things, or saying some things that resonate with you, you would know what I mean when I say that. I think you're going to get that feeling from this story that we're going to tell. And I'm really excited about it, guys. So that's just a little sneak peek into what's more to come. Please follow Domz. I'll have all the links in the description below. Thank you again for coming on here, my brother. I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. It's
definitely
been great.
Appreciate
it's
it.
Been a great
we'll
experience.
definitely, we're going to do some things. We're definitely going to do some things.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this documentary. Is going to be dope. And thank you again, man. I'm really looking forward to working with you more.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, guys. If you're watching, leave the like, leave a comment, share it with your friends, share it with your family members. If you listen to this, it's going to be on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, anywhere that you can listen to podcasts, the Built for Anything podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching out there. Peace and love, y'all. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.